are going to return all student loans to the bankrupt-able category. When student loans were first introduced to the American society, they were freely bankrupt-able like any other debt that the debtor would put in bankruptcy. Folks of the day somehow, some way, thought that it was a great idea to force a consumer of education to pay for a worthless product their whole life, and to stack fees upon fees on top of initial small principles. I mean, there are stories out there where we have 70-year-old people who have hundreds of thousands of dollars in guaranteed student loan debt, and they only borrowed $5,000 40 years ago to go to school. And that debt has become so out of control, and that education that they bought was pretty much worthless. And this is a huge, huge problem in the American society, because we have 3,300 universities and institutions of higher learning across America. We're not only talking about sort of the commercial private institutions, we are talking about state institutions, Ivy League institutions. Every university in the country has programs that are economically worthless. This includes Harvard and Yale and Princeton and Berkeley, all the way down to your local community college. We do not need to put money into worthless educations. We're living in the age of the internet. If somebody wants to know about those topics, they can Google it all day long. And they can spend their evenings and their weekends reading about those topics and let their curiosity go to no end. But the idea that we will allow American institutions of higher learning to just bundle together any collection of data, or let's call it classes or education, and then sell that, knowing that there's no way in the world that the buyer is ever going to get out of paying for it, those days are coming to an end. So we are going to put all student loans from any institution back into the category of bankruptability, and it's up to the student. If that student feels like they have gotten a worthless education and they cannot make money from it, it's that person's choice and that person's choice alone whether or not they should put that in the bankruptcy court petition. So that's got to happen. We cannot continue on this road of wasted resources. Now, the result of this is it will immediately force all institutions of higher learning to put meaningful classes on the table. So that study in basket weaving, this is the classic example, that course in basket weaving will no longer exist. And in addition to that, we're going to tweak the guaranteed student loan programs. We're going to make sure the universities have skin in the game. So we're going to do something on the lines of, when that student starts university, the first year student loans are paid 75% to the university. But the remaining 25%, the university is not going to get for 6 or 7 years later. So what we want to happen is we want to see those students graduate. We want to see those students go into the workforce. And if in fact those students are not capable of finding jobs and to use that education, there's no reason to hand the university a check for that other 25%. So we are going to reform higher education in the country.